this video, we are going to discuss the different contingency clauses in a home sale and how they can protect you as a seller or a buyer. A contingency essentially means a provision in a contract for an unforeseen event or circumstance. It may cover some obvious things like inspections and the ability to get a mortgage, but in the current times, it may also cover any COVID-19 pandemic-related issues. Selling or buying a property is perhaps one of the biggest transactions of your life, and it can be extremely nerve-wracking with many unknown factors at play. Therefore, contingency clauses are incorporated to give you some peace of mind, protect your monies, and prevent lawsuits. If you're a seller and you are in a contract with several contingency clauses that protect the buyer, of course it may not be the best situation to be in. Lesser the contingencies, the better it is for the seller. Similarly, if you're a buyer, the seller may also add contingency clauses to the contract, like the sale is contingent upon the seller's finding a suitable property. This will not be an optimal situation for the buyer. All contingency clauses are usually time-bound, and if they're not, you as the seller or buyer should make sure that the attorneys add wording to make them time-bound and not open-ended. Some common contingency clauses that we are seeing in contracts these days are: Number 1, a buyer's property sale contingency. This makes the contract null and void if the buyer does not produce a sales contract on their property within the given amount of time. It also allows the seller to continue to market the property to other buyers until they receive a sales contract from the current buyer. Of course, the seller would not be keen on this contingency until he or she has no other options. In other words, no other offers. The second type of contingency is the home inspection contingency. This is very standard, and very rarely do we come across a contract without this contingency. That only happens when the property is being sold strictly as is by the seller or the bank in a distress situation. In spite of that, we recommend to our buyers that they must conduct home inspections even if the seller is not going to be making any repairs. It is important so that the buyers can estimate the costs involved in any required repairs and be more confident about their purchase. The next contingency is the appraisal contingency. This is usually implicitly built into the mortgage contingency because most lenders need to ensure that the property is appraised at the purchase price before they can issue a mortgage commitment. However, in some situations, it may be added on during the attorney review period, limiting seller options. For example, a cash purchase may also be made contingent upon a satisfactory appraisal. Number 4 is the mortgage contingency itself. This is included for all non-cash purchases. It is required in spite of the buyer producing a mortgage pre-approval at the onset of the transaction because it is pending production of additional documents by the buyer and underwriting review. These days, we're also adding a coronavirus contingency, which primarily allows for a provision to delay closing in case of unforeseen circumstances related to the coronavirus. Delays may be caused due to closure of government offices or delays in mortgage or title processing. I hope you found this information useful. Please feel free to send me any questions that you would like me to address regarding real estate from my website, askcharan.com. Thank you for tuning in.